later, we'll be hustling between venues with dozens and dozens of bands rocking out to advance mental health awareness. Please put your hands together, stop your feet on the floor, and get very excited for Stephen, the importance of being earnest, Cramer!
Hey neighbors, how y'all doing, neighbors? I'm partially telling my mom's story, and she loved Mr. Rogers, as should you. So, guess what? I forgot my dry mouth lozenges. This should be interesting. My name is Stephen, and the title of this is "Proud to be a Mama's Boy." I am here because of my mom, obviously. I also like the saying that every decision you've ever made in life has led you to right here, for better or worse. My mom was a special lady. She had struggles, she had different diagnoses, but it all came out of being sexually assaulted when she was 5. And schizophrenia was mentioned, dissociative personality disorder. I don't even remember what the right diagnosis is. I always joke that my diagnosis is Stephen Ernest Cramer. And it's, one doctor recently, a couple years ago, said bipolar 2, and that sounded right, but you are a complete, unique person that doesn't fit one diagnosis. I also have Crohn's disease, so good times. But my story is, growing up I'm the youngest of 2, also the youngest cousin on both sides. So I'm the cutest and the funniest. But I always knew that my mom was special, and I always just, she found hope in Christianity. She became born again when I was 3, and I have early memories of going to church in Columbus, Ohio, and to a black church, and speaking in tongues, and that helped her out. And she got her master's degree in counseling. And other people at her Schizophrenics Anonymous group in Michigan were like, "What? You got a master's degree?" And in the 1980s, lots of people were misdiagnosed with multiple personality, and she at one point thought that someone else married my dad, someone else got the degree. No, Mom, you earned it. From my dad, I got discipline, and from my mom, I got a lot of magic. But my first memories of her are, I just assumed that it was normal for your mom to be manically playing solitaire in the middle of the night. It's not. What broke my heart the most was when I was a teenager and she collapsed in my arms in the kitchen when her therapist said he didn't know what to do for her anymore. The saving grace was that her therapist and psychiatrist, which is unique that it comes in one person, at the end of her life when she passed away 5 years ago, was able to get her on a great batch of meds, the right mix, because that always changes, because your chemistry always changes, and therapy, and she worked through things, and she was still active in her church, and she was in a good place. I wish I'd gotten a chance to move her down here, but that didn't happen. Working on my dad to move him down here, but even though I come from a pharmacy family, my dad's dad and his grandfather owned a Rexall pharmacy. So I should have embraced pharmacology long ago for my mental health, but I didn't raise red flags in junior high. I was good enough. I was B-, 2.9. I consider that B-. It got me into college, and I got a degree, and I opened up a lot more in college when I became involved with the college radio station in Michigan. But I'm still a late bloomer, and I'm still blooming. But 5 years ago, after I had a Crohn's disease surgery and I was laid off, there were some stresses or triggers. So I was laid off. Then my appendix exploded when I was 10, but that's a different story. My intestines just backed up, and then they're like, "We need to take out 8 inches." And I'm like, I'm really glad I'm not living in the Middle Ages, because I would not be here. But also my marriage was struggling, and eventually my marriage did not work out. But right before it didn't work out, my wife made me go because I had go to the hospital because in therapy, I finally said, I was like, of course I have suicidal thoughts every day. Because I was saying earlier, like, at the saddest part of my life, the best part of my day was when you wake up in that split second you don't know who you are. And I've said a lot in the last couple of years. I have serious manic depression, and I accept that I'll always have depression sometimes. I just want it to be a 1 or a 2 on a 10 scale, not a 9 or a 10 like I've gone suicidal to the hospital. But I accept a life at a 5. And we all know people that know people, or some people in here might accept their depression at a 4, 5, or 6. And that limits your life, and you do not deserve that. You deserve to be the best you can be. But after my wife left, and I was thankful that she made me go. The day after I told her and our therapist that I thought of it every day, she's like, I can't go to work thinking you might kill yourself. And I said, no, I'm fine for a couple minutes, and then I said, okay. And that was the first time I tried Prozac, and it helped, but it didn't help enough. And then my wife and I split up, and it led to a divorce, and I was like, oh, I'll just go back to Michigan. I'm at a fork in the road in my life, and that didn't work out either. Because guess what? In Michigan, the skies during the winter are gray for like 6 months, and it's 20 degrees. And when you get used to the magic of Athens, Georgia, and the sun, even when it's cold, that helps. So I decided, well, I went to the hospital 3 times suicidal in Detroit. I was living right by the Motown Museum. The last time I went, I worked on and off when I was up there, but I was not on the right meds. And this is my mom's handwriting. It says, I love you mucho, love mom. And I looked at my arm and I said, I haven't tried everything. I wasn't suicidal, I never attempted, but if anybody in here has suffered, or if you know somebody that can't get up out of bed, they are suffering and they are fighting to stay alive every day. Didn't shower for 3 weeks. That's my record, my personal record. So I went and I made them keep me, and I made them put me on new meds, and I was still in Detroit, and then I moved back into a place with boarded up windows, but I had friends, and I got a plan to move back to Athens, where I decided that I'm my best self. So people come up to me all the time now when I say I'm a mental health advocate, and they'll tell me all of their stuff and all of their family stuff. And the only advice I really give is be proactive. Something is something. Do something you haven't done before. It might be trying meds, it might be trying therapy, it might be lifestyle changes. It might be all 3. The lifestyle change will definitely be one of them. And just be proactive, and yes. And Jesse played the first Brain Aid 2 months ago, and yeah, it's a thing. And it's going to be here, and I'm also working on inspiring other mental health advocates and musicians in other cities to license this idea that I came up with in Detroit while I was depressed. I might have been on the floor, I might have been on the couch, but I asked myself, why isn't there a Live Aid for mental health? And a voice said, because you thought of it, idiot. Tim, thank you very much.